from the DHS press release. ICE launches Operation Midway Blitz. You guys know why I love that name, because I'm from Midway. And so when I saw that, I was like, really? Are they going to my neighborhood? Today, the Department of Homeland Security announced Operation Midway Blitz in honor of Katie Abraham, who was killed in a drunk driving hit-and-run car wreck caused by a criminal illegal alien, Julio Cuculbol, in Illinois. This ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. Wow. They say below are just a handful of the worst criminal illegal aliens, including gang members, drug traffickers, kidnappers, and rapists who were released because of Governor Pritzker's sanctuary policies. And they go on to mention this guy, 47-year-old battery, aggravated assault, DUI, trespassing. This guy, a domestic violence assault, drug possession, drug manufacturing, procuring prostitutes, aggravated unlawful use of weapons. I mean, this is crazy. I'm going to say it again. I don't know who these people think they are. There's one video where a guy says there's going to be a civilian uprising against ICE. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I don't know who these people think they are. But you know what? You know what I think happens? Illegal immigrants come to this country. They move to Chicago and then say, we will fight you, we're staying. And me and my friends are all like, dude, we don't know who you are. We have no problem with federal law enforcement walking around. Literally nobody cares. When I asked my buddy from Chicago, which would you prefer, the crime, gang violence, or a couple of National Guard walking on the street, they laugh because it's a retarded question. What? Literally nobody would even flinch if National Guard were walking on the street. Mm-hmm. If ICE shows up in where I grew up and they were doing an operation on the street corner, literally none of they're going to be walking back from the grocery store with their milk, bread, and eggs, and they're going to be like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, well, and you saw the left's perception of the National Guard is totally ridiculous. Like it was the Pisco was on the show the Culture War show, and he was like, "They're sending killing machines in New York City,
murder machines."
I'm like, have you ever met a National Guardsman? Like they're very normal, nice guys. Like,
they're literally reservists. They're
right?
Literally the same people that you run into, like working at a store. Or
they call them weekend warriors.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, usually it's a little bit. It's one weekend a month, and then 2 weeks a year. They're normal Americans that do normal American jobs. Maybe they're a mechanic. Maybe they work at an HVAC repair guy. They're normal Americans. So to say that they're just killing machines is absolutely ridiculous.
Dude, that is insane. He said they were murder machines, and then I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, very few, like, what is the percentage of combat infantry? Do you know the percentage of like all people? It's small. Right?
In the Marine Corps, it's probably like 7 to 9% roughly.
They're all, I was like, the guy working on computers and doing IT stuff is not a murder machine. They're trained, they're physically fit, they know how to handle weapons, but Phil is physically fit, knows how to handle weapons. I wouldn't call him a murder machine.
Never murdered anybody in my life.
Yeah, I think I know what murder machines are. It's the people we just saw in that video. Like, there's a lot of murder machines just on the streets running around. It's like, hello.
There are probably more murder machines in Chicago than there are in the National Guard.
And tying two of these stories that we've already talked about into this one, so if one of our arguments on the left is going to be, in terms of like black crime, is that we have a lack of opportunity. Well, I can't really think of much that is better for opportunity for African Americans in Chicago than deporting a whole bunch of illegal aliens. A lot of jobs are going to open up. A lot of rent's going to become cheaper. Housing is going to become cheaper.
Rent,
yeah.
Like these young liberals don't get it. When you remove the illegal immigrants who are entering Chicago, they're putting up. So this is really, really funny. I was talking to my friend about LeClaire Courts. 2009, they bulldozed the black neighborhood because of the gangs. When you go there now, it looks like, and I could be wrong about this, but it looks like an illegal immigrant camp. I think that's what they set up, is big white tents. When we drove past over the 4th, and I'm like, I think they set up an illegal immigrant camp. You get rid of those people. There's There's one guy, and he owns a 3-story building in Chicago. And he rents out the bottom 2 floors and lives on the top floor. So he's charging $2,000 for the second, $2,000 for the first. You know why? Because when he posted on Craigslist, he got 500 emails saying, I want it. And so he goes, $2,250. Then he waits. He gets 20 emails. He's like, wow, 25. He gets 7 emails. And he goes, 3,000. He gets 3 emails. And he's like, 3,000? It's yours. You deport the people who are here illegally. And then all of a sudden, people stop emailing. And he says, man, I can't rent this out for 3,000 anymore. Nobody's emailing. Because now there is a large supply of available units to live in, releasing the tension and making it easier and cheaper to live in these apartments.
Yeah. I literally spoke to a used car dealer in Virginia who was saying that he's finding it really, really difficult to move inventory now. He sells like very, very low end used cars. And it's because there's a huge supply now. It's like if you're young and you're just trying to get to school or whatever, it's like, oh, you can actually buy, because I don't know if any, I mean, people out there knows the used car market went crazy during COVID, totally out of reach for young people that are just trying to get to school. And now we're freeing up inventory. And it's the same thing with housing. It's the same thing with jobs. Like everything in your life gets easier and better because of mass deportations.
Yeah, we have
It's true.
55 million visa holders, and then anywhere between, my guess is 30 and 50 million illegal aliens in the United States, all over the place. That's a lot of demand. A lot of demand. You erase a significant amount of that by moving those people out.
The argument they're making is, yeah, but those people buy food, and that sustains the economy. And I'm just sitting there being like, Democrats, you advocated for abortion, and so now the fertility rate's in the gutter. Told women to be girl bosses, not to have families, and then opened the floodgates and let tons of illegal immigrants into the country who are low-skilled labor and can't replace our managerial class or expert-level class. That's just literally burning the country down.
Yeah.
It's insane. And also, as an aside, I don't know, we'll get to the story in a second, Gen Z doesn't even want to have kids anymore. So we cooked.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
see it all
just
the time.
Gen Z women, right?
Gen Z
I
women.
think it's all.
Well,
a lot of them
liberal
are.
men and women.
Like cities are not child friendly anymore. Cities.
That's because
they're
there's
not-
no kids.
There's no families.
But again, we'll get into that in a couple of minutes.
yeah.
For now, let's just wrap up. The question for you guys is there are going to be businesses that shut down because of this. When we're talking about reducing demand, which will make rent cheaper, houses cheaper, but it does also mean it's going to be harder for you to find certain goods and certain products. I don't care.
That's fine.
Yeah, I literally don't care. We have chickens. I get my eggs from our own chickens, and we're looking at buying a mini cow. 'Cause I think mini cows do like 1 to 2 gallons of milk per day.
Nice.
But like a real cow, like a regular old cow, does like 12 gallons.
My girlfriend's
Can't
gonna
drink
wanna
that
come
much
over to hang
milk.
out. My girlfriend's gonna want to come over to meet your cow.
Cows are great.
She's like, I want to get a cow, and I'm like, we're not getting a cow. We have a townhouse here.
I saw there's a really great viral video where there's a cow it's bloated with methane, and so it's just on the ground sideways, and there's another cow just staring at it, and the farmer walks up and he jams the thing in it to release the gas, and the cow just watches, and he's just like staring at the other cow, and I'm like, dude, cows are great.
They're great.
Have animals, be a little bit more self-sufficient. It would be good for everyone in this country if they were a little bit more reliant. I saw this viral post. It said Steve Jobs wrote himself an email. And it was something like, he was like, I eat food that I don't grow. I live in buildings I did not build. And it was something like that. But I'm like, it's a really great point to make. 100 years ago, or maybe like 150, we mostly ate food that we grew. Like there was a certain percentage of our diet that was our own diet. The average family owned 1 cow. They had animals, they had chickens, and you'd supplement some of the things you couldn't get. Now, we literally produce nothing for ourselves. The average person in this country does nothing for themselves. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the illegal immigration thing is just another example of basically one generation getting the benefits, which was like the cheap labor, like a 20-year window where it made labor cheap, made it a little easier to run a business and that sort of thing. And in exchange, they just sold the country's future out. And it's like, it's a great example of Americans where you need to be weaned off of this hyper consumerism, like you're saying with the food. It's like we've gotten fat and happy, and we don't even realize where our food even comes from. These sorts of things.
Oh, bro, I love the story when I was arguing with the socialist on X, and he said food comes from the grocery store.
God.
And I was like, well, when you buy it, it does, but how does the milk get there? Where does it come from? And they're like, what do you mean? It's at the grocery store. And I'm like, who brings it to the grocery store, and where did it come from before then? And it was like, what are you talking about? It's at the grocery store. And I'm like, oh my God. Dude, communists think money is food. They genuinely, they're like, I mentioned that PBD debate, and the woman's like, how much money do you need to feed every person in the United States? It's like, what's the average calorie of a dollar bill? Yet no amount of money will feed anybody. You're talking about labor. labor from another human that you want for free. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, they're just completely removed from the entire cycle. Like, it's the same thing when you're debating people on illegal immigration. Is like, yeah, but the GDP is going up, and you're like, yes, but you're like selling out a generation. You're inflating rent prices, food prices, vehicle prices, these sorts of things. But it's like, yeah, I know, but the GDP is going up. I'm like, yes, because you're pumping more people, and so they're spending more money, and the GDP will go up. But they're just totally removed from how things actually work, how these mechanisms actually function.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.